So in the next videos, we're gonna get practical and look at some simple things that you can do to create belonging at work and how to do them well specifically. In the first one, we're gonna look at something really common sense, but often massively undervalued, greetings. If you think about a time when you were really welcomed into a space versus a time when you were not welcomed into a space and the difference in how that felt and how that shaped the rest of your day, you're gonna get a sense of what we're talking about. It has a huge impact on us. As humans, we're always looking for clues as to what to expect. Our brains are these prediction machines. And once a prediction forms, we actively hunt for confirming evidence. You might have heard this referred to as confirmation bias. This is why the way we are greeted into a space or by an individual sets a tone that's really, really important, because it creates this expectation that's really, really hard to shake. Now, this is really important in hospital settings because there's a lot of examples of mistakes happening because someone was uncomfortable asking for help or uncomfortable escalating. And that can lead to real harm. And it happens because as humans, sometimes we find asking for help weirdly difficult, especially as professionals, right? We don't like to appear incompetent. We don't want to bother someone, especially if they're clearly in a rush or annoyed. And obviously their job is really important, right? They're saving lives. So as part of our desire to belong, we don't want to kind of draw too much attention to ourselves. We don't want to bother other people, which is why when you greet someone, it's so important you make them feel okay that they can ask you questions. You make them feel okay that they can ask for help. It's actively dangerous if they don't. Now, this is even more important, of course, for new team members. So that might be a new recruit, but obviously in your work, there's a lot of covering on different shifts, in different wards, in different spaces. And it's in those new spaces that we're likely to feel the most vulnerable. And it's in those new spaces that sometimes people can forget to welcome us on board, to show us where things are, just to be someone we can talk to on those days when we're going to feel our most uncomfortable. Putting in the time with those initial greetings, noticing if someone's new on the ward, spending just a few minutes being warm, being open, asking them how they are, gives them an in to ask you for support, gives them a way to feel much more comfortable in that space and therefore much more likely to ask the questions that matter, much more likely to escalate if they see any issues. And of course, it just makes communication in that whole team easier as well. As you go about your day, whether that's today or in a few days' time, have a little think, have some awareness of what you can do to greet people, to make them feel welcome, to open up that space of belonging, inclusion, and allow them to ask those questions that really matter.